G'day everybody, welcome back. No, I haven't done the top end rebuild yet. I started to clean up the barrels and the bloody cooling fins have snapped off in a couple of places. It's very, very brittle. And rather than put an ugly broken bits of barrel on, I'm going to pull this one apart and see if it's recoverable. And hopefully I won't have wasted my money on a set of standard rings. I don't have to bore it out, but that's where I'm at. Just waiting for a weekend where I can block out the whole 2 days and I've got time to spend on it. I also have new timing belts and new valve stem seals and new rocker cover gaskets for the Ducati, so that job's got to be done as well. So they're stockpiling and I need to get on with it. However, today I just wanted to have a quick chat about rake angle and trail. When I talked about, say you want to build a cafe racer, I touched on the fact that you need to adhere to good engineering principles, and I also spoke about seemingly primitive suspension systems. They are, I guess, when you're looking at them, but you can create a stability issue if you start mucking around with your trail and with your rake angle. Now, the rake angle is the angle of your forks relative to the ground when the bike's sitting, and your trail is measured from your headstock bearings that you project a line down. Where it intersects with the ground, you measure back to the center line of your axle, and that is your trail, that distance. And on the XS1100, the rake angle is 29 degrees and the trail is 128 millimeters. Now I want to shorten these forks. I'm going to internally shorten them, and I will do a video when I get around to doing that. But by doing that, you're dropping the frame down at the front of the bike, and that reduces the rake angle and can impact also your trail. And you got to be careful that you don't end up with an unstable bike. So I had to pop over to a mate of mine's today and borrow his milling machine to do a couple of little jobs that I'm doing for the XS1100. One is a fork brace that I don't actually think is going to fit these RH forks, but I was just giving them a tidy up. And the other one's a little accent piece that I'm working on for the clutch cover. And while I was there, I was having a chat to Richard because he's got an XS1100 sidecar, and he's a very knowledgeable bloke as well. He's got an XS11 sidecar. It currently is just running the forks without a leading link front end on it. Now, I did have one fitted, but it's dubious. The way it was manufactured is pretty poor. So he's removed it from the bike and is going to set about making it, improving its design and having a good mechanical fit. But while I had him there, I thought I'd get him to have a chat to us about those leading link sidecar front ends, because I've often wondered about them. Yeah, I'll let him run us through it. I'm here in Ollie's garage, in his shed, and he's got a sickness, and it's similar to mine, but his is tenfold. And we don't need to go and look up under the house, but I came over to use his lovely little milling machine. I've also in the past borrowed his lathe. And Ollie, how you going?
G'day. Yeah,
has got
good,
an XS11 sidecar, and under here is a leading link front end. It's a little bit suspect in the way it's been manufactured.
Not by me.
Not by him. But I've always wondered about them, and Ollie's going to explain to me how they work and the geometry.
Okay, so your standard forks come down like this, and then there's a wheel there, and you got your trail.
Yes.
That's so where that point would intersect. That's your trail.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually measured. The trail angle's measured from the headset bearing.
I get that it comes from there, but you know you get the idea.
Yes.
And I think the excesses are not too different. So if you've got a lot of trail, it's fine when you're going straight ahead, sort of. But when you come to turn
a raked out chopper.
Yeah, but when you come to turn a corner, you've got to really, really have muscles the size of Hercules to get around a corner, because the trail is trying to make the wheel go back to straight.
Yeah.
It's a bit more complicated than that because you've got toe in and stuff on the sidecar, which makes it even going straight quite difficult.
Mm.
So what you do with a leading link is you think about where you
Projected line
projected from your headset.
bearing.
So where your wheel was there, you move it forward. So your wheel's now not quite. You want to have a little tiny bit of trail. So your leading link comes down here like this, and then you have a swing arm there, and then your forks come. Your just shockers don't really matter where the shockers go, and you can have your pivot point there or back here. But the whole aim and the idea is to move the contact patch of the tyre much closer to where the centre line is, so that it's easy to steer. Now, if you overdo it, it's really wobbly.
Yeah, like a chopper.
Like a shopping trolley.
Yes.
So what you're aiming to is to get the right amount of trail here. The other way you can do it, which some people do, is they buy a different set of triple clamps. So here's your head stem, but you buy a triple clamp where the top's there and the bottom's there.
Yeah.
Sorry, the other way around.
Yep.
So that your forks come out like this, and
change
that
the rake angle, and
yeah.
that effectively moves the trail.
Yeah. So then when we come to XS11s, just turn our piece of paper over here.
Oh, this is wonderful. It's like,
So when they had the XS11s, the first ones they had like forks that came down like that, and the axle was there, and there's the wheel.
yes.
And then, of course, leading axle forks became all the rage. So they put in a nice leading axle fork on the XS1100 RH with the axle there. But what they've really done here is they've moved the axle forward, I don't know, 50 millimetres, whatever it is. So to compensate for that, they didn't change the frame. Well, they did, they braced it a bit, but they didn't actually change the angles. They put different offsets on the triple clamps to bring the wheel back into the same, so that if you think about where the steering stem is for these two bikes, you end up with exactly the same amount of trail. They've put leading axle forks on it,
Yeah.
but they've kept the trail the same by changing
The angle of the triple clamp.
the triple clamps.
So the RH triple clamp is a different
Yes.
angle.
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes. So what you can do, if you're going to put a sidecar on, which I keep talking about doing but I haven't done, is get a set of triples off an early model, but use the leading axle forks off the RH, and you're halfway to where you want your wheel to anyway to have a sidecar on it.
Right.
But it'll probably be a bit twitchy
Yeah.
if you're riding it as a solo.
Right.
That's it. End of lesson.
Thank you. Thank you for your knowledge and your education.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the skinny on sidecars and why they have leading link front ends. And so obviously it's to reduce the amount of effort input that you require to turn something that just wants to drive you straight ahead. I've often wondered about them. You look at some of them that have been built, and the axle seems to be a lot further forward than others, but then the fulcrums move back and the shock absorber position relative to the downpipes. There's obviously quite a bit of engineering goes into designing one. I don't know that, I mean, people do build them in their backyards, but you just want to be careful that you don't, as Richard said, create a shopping trolley where you've got a front wheel that wants to flap like a dying duck. All right, well, thank you for that, Richard, and thanks for tuning in. So stay tuned, because we will be back with more, and I'll see you now. For now, bye.